Hello everyone, my name is Platinum Warthog and welcome to another Sharpening Your Skills episode. In today's episode, we'll discuss how you can improve your awareness, know generally where your enemies are at, and being able to pick out odd enemy players within your proximity. We will also be covering how to not get shot in the back. So without further ado, let's get started. To begin, there are a few things I'd like to touch on, first being headphones. If you never thought of playing with headphones, I will explain how headphones can give you an advantage in most situations. Any headphones will do the trick, even a $5 pair of earbuds will work, but for maximum effectiveness, I would prefer to use headphones. Other people prescribe gaming headsets, but I personally use a pair of headphones I found in a department store that only cost me 20 bucks, and they work just fine. But if you want to purchase a gaming headset, go ahead and do so. Now that you have a good pair of headphones, this leads me to my next point, sound perks and Call of Duty. If you actually listen closely in a match of Call of Duty, you can hear players' footsteps, players using equipment, and players dropping down from higher points on the map. Keep in mind, your player does make these same noises as well. Simply because your enemies make these noises, some perks in Call of Duty amplify the sounds, making them easier to detect. For example, here's a screenshot taken from Call of Duty Ghost's perk selection menu. As you can see, we have two perks, Dead Silence and Amplify. Dead Silence will decrease the sound of your footsteps, making you harder to detect, whereas Amplify will increase the sound of enemy footsteps, making them easier to detect. Amplify also undoes the effect of Dead Silence. Pairing perks like these along with headphones makes you a ninja with dog-like hearing. Now that we have a good setup, let's learn to use it effectively. If you hear footsteps or any noise made by players and your teammates aren't around, it can only mean one thing. There's an enemy nearby. You should immediately prepare for a gunfight. I will go a bit more in depth in a future episode about how to locate enemies according to their noise in the form of a drill, so stay tuned for that. The last thing I want to cover is how not to be shot in the back, and there are a few ways to prevent this from happening. First and foremost is the minimap. This guy right here. All Call of Duties have them. The reason the minimap is so important is because it will not only display your teammates' positions on the map, but it will also show enemies who are not using stealth perks and suppressor when a UAV is in the air. Here are two things you should look out for. 1. Your teammate's position on the map, and 2. Enemies who are not using suppressors and stealth perks when a friendly UAV is in the air. The reason your teammate's positioning is so important is because if your teammates hold one side of the map, usually the enemy holds the other. So a good way to not get shot in the back is to stay around your teammates. Not only will they cover you, but they will also keep enemies from spawning around you. I will speak a little more on spawns in a future episode. Another thing you should look out for are the red dots that sometimes appear on the minimap. These are actually enemy players being picked up by a UAV or firing their unsuppressed weapons. If you see these red dots near your character, be prepared for a gunfight. If you follow these steps, I guarantee you'll see some form of improvement. With that said, that concludes this episode. Join me next week when I'll be sharing some tips of how to improve your aim. The next episode will be cut into two parts, first being tips, and the second being a drill. So leave a like if you enjoyed, and until next time, farewell.